Alright, today's video is gonna be a tool restoration of this really old vintage pair of Vaughan and Bushnell Van pliers? You would think so, right? By looking at those teeth? Were these the original Van pliers? Alright, well hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will take you through a pretty cool story and a restoration. Let's get into it. So here's how the story goes. My buddy Chad, also known as CP the Tool Addict, and if you haven't seen his channel, check him out. I'll put the link in the description below. But he reached out to me on Instagram, and knowing that, you know, he follows my channel and knows that I mess around with the old vintage tools, he's more into a lot of the more modern stuff. Not to say he's not nostalgic. He definitely likes some older tools as well. But he came across this pair of pliers. This isn't the exact one. This is a pair I've since purchased. And he said to me, Tom, these are my grandfather's pliers. Is there any way you know to date these? You know, I know you mess around a lot with older tools and, you know, find stuff. And I searched and I could not find this exact pair when it was made. I couldn't find any listings on it, alloy artifacts, all the usual suspects where you would check for a pair of pliers. I just couldn't find it. And he said to me, they really look like the Van pliers. He's like, I can't believe that this design goes back that far. I really would love to learn more about it. And these are my grandfather's. And if you could give me any tips or tricks in cleaning it up, I'm looking to, you know, use them and put them back in service. So for you that don't know, there's a company called Engineer, I believe it is. They make the Van pliers, type pliers, and they have this cross-hashing teeth at the end, and they got really popular, I don't know, 5-8 years ago. At least that's the first time I started hearing a lot about them. And they're really meant for extracting bolts. They could take out those, you know, fasteners that are rounded off, and they just got really good reviews, and they're actually really well made. They're a Japan company. Knipex since has made this pair that I have that I absolutely love. It's kind of a knockoff. I don't want to say a knockoff, but just their version of the Van pliers. So, you know, just to see something that goes back, you know, this far was really curiosity. So I searched and I searched. I couldn't find anything. I finally found a pair that looked like it on eBay, and they weren't cheap. These were $16.99. I think it was free shipping. So with tax, close to $20. And this thing's only 5 inches. But, you know, since, you know, so that's where I was with these. And I had them, and I said, I'm going to clean them up, restore them. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see it here, they're actually bent, which I'll show you a little bit. We're going to have to put that on the dake when we restore it. But they were laying around, and I never got to restoring it. Then about a couple months ago, I was messing around outside, and I was putting the garden hose on, and I was looking for a pair of pliers I could use to get the garden hose screwed back onto the house. It was just that tough spot. It was just really cold out, and I couldn't get a good grip on the hose where it attaches to the house. So I went in looking for a pair of pliers, and I found these gas and burning pliers, which I have several pairs of. And it works great, by the way, for, you know, trying to get those hose attachments with that rounded piece there, because that's kind of what this is for, pipe. But anyway, the moral of the story is, I looked, holy smokes, when I grabbed these, I said, these gas burner pliers have the same teeth as those ones on the Vaughan and Bushnell. So then I said, all right, now I got something to work with. I know this is a gas and burner plier. And then I was able to search Vaughan and Bushnell gas burner pliers, and that's when I found their catalog on their website that goes back to 1903. But beyond that, there's still not a lot of information out there. So if you know about it, let me know. And let's get into this video and get this thing restored. First order of business is going to get these straight before I even bother trying to clean them up. Because if I can't get these straight, there's no sense in doing a cleanup on them or a restoration. So as you can see there, the teeth just don't align. They're slightly off canter. I marked that they don't have a lot of wiggle in here. I might be able to tighten up that a little bit, but the most part, you can see it there. That's the problem. And it's because this one here has a slight bend to it, as you can see down there. It just kind of curves a little bit off. So let's get her on the dake. All right, over here at the dake, and I'm just playing with the configuration here. And what I've learned is I really got a double problem here with this pair of pliers. There is a lot more play than I would like in this rivet here. So that's going to have to get tightened up. But I also have a bend, so it's like which one to attack first. So I think what I'm going to do is try to get that bend right there, just slightly, and then I'll tighten the rivet up, and then I'll play with it, and then if I have to take more out of the bend, I'll do it after the rivet's tightened. So let's get to it. That might have... Whoop! Let's see what we got there. That definitely seemed to bend pretty well. So let's tighten the rivet up. And similar to what I did last time in my last project, which you remember, Scoutcrafter told me put that little nut in there and clamp it down. So let me do that. All right, so I just crazy glued that on there. I am going to put a piece of Scotch tape around that too to keep it from slipping off. But I just want to show you that bend really fixed it. So now I just got, but what happened was it fixed it, but it also gave me a lot more play. So once I tighten that up, it should be absolutely perfect. Let's get to it. Well, they're tight, so they got to be lined up, I would think. Let's open it up. Oh yeah, they're tight. They're probably a little too tight, but they are nice and straight now. And I know from the last project that will loosen up pretty easily with just a little bit of oil and working it back and forth. So I think I'm ready to start the cleanup and make these things look like they did in 1903. All right, this is a couple of hours of love on all of that equipment back there. I used everything basically in my arsenal to get this one just the way I thought I would want it to come out. Now, this was originally blued out of the factory, as you can see in that advertisement I shared earlier. But I gave it this nice satin finish, and it just needed a lot of love. There was a lot of pitting in here and a lot of deep staining. And I just gave it this nice brushed finish, as you can see there. All the facets, not a rough edge on it, feels wonderful. Absolutely great in the hand. Kept all the original lines, and it just came out great. Look how great the teeth are on this. I did touch them slightly with my files, but I didn't even need to. It honestly looks like nothing is even like pushed over or anything like that. Very little wear. So there they are. I think they came out absolutely fantastic, considering that these are probably 100 years old and basically got almost every single nick, stain, and scratch out of it. And these definitely look better than they did out of the factory over 100 years ago. Able to still keep the label in there, Vaughan and Bushnell. So a little bit more about these pliers. So first off, Vaughan and Bushnell still around to this day, making tons of quality hammers. That's kind of their main thing that they've always done, is hammers and punches and metal tools. They did have a handful of pliers, but not many, and I don't think they make any to this day. The cool thing is almost all of their stuff is still made in the USA. I'll put the catalog for this from 1903 in the description if you want to look through it. It's a really neat catalog. And Vaughan's been around over 150 years now, so if you're ever in the market for a good USA made hammer, go for it. They're absolutely fantastic. Made in the USA and high quality stuff. And I couldn't find it recently, but I remember reading somewhere that they actually have a tree farm. I don't know if that's true or I made it up, but I'm pretty sure I read that they bought a piece of land where they grow their own hickory. But anyway, let's get back to these pliers. So it's safe to say that these gas and burner pliers, that was kind of the design that they had, where they had this type of opening in them, and they were not designed to be extracting screwdrivers, pliers, I should say. And you could see just from how they fit a screw in there, the way it is it's almost natural. It wants to kick it out. The way I feel like these are designed is they're meant to kind of sit back in there. When you think about those old gas burners and oil burners and things as such, they had like those kind of plugs and fittings on them where if you could grab it back here and then it would still grab it in the front. That's kind of in my opinion, kind of how these were meant to work. And then those teeth can grab it in the front. Needless to say, is a great design, very practical pair of pliers, the smaller ones as well as the bigger ones, but these are definitely a very different design when you get into like the extracting screwdrivers, where it's meant for these different types of teeth to sit. See, it's not only got cuts this way, not only got cuts going the long way, it's got them going across, so everything just sits in there perfect. And it's got, just really, these got a way better grip for extracting pliers. So a little bit about these pliers, Chad. Hope you enjoyed the video. They're Vaughan and Bushnell, dating them back over 100 years. Not exactly sure when they finished making them. They were gas and burning pliers. And these ones just came out beautiful. Not an ounce of play on them anymore. They line up great, and I'll get these out to you so you can have a pair next to your grandfather's that's nice and shiny, and you could more of a user, and you could keep your grandfather's on the shelf and use them from time to time, but just give them light use, because as you can see here, you don't want to do a restoration like I did on this. I took a lot off and gets a little dicey at times, and when you have a family heirloom, it's probably better off just to wire brush it and keep a little bit of WD-40 on it. All right, to leave this video, I'm gonna finish off at the dake. Got another loose head here, I just realized. So as Scout Crafter would say, the 980 reason to own a dake. Talk to you guys soon. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in Jacktown or the next one.